Okay. All right. Well, Molly, I want to thank you for speaking with me today. This is just going to be a quick interview, just talking about your experience with SIT and your experience with the program.
Okay.
So can you start for me? Can you state your name, the major of the program that you went on, and just a little bit of background information?
Yep, my name is Molly Pritz. I'm a sociology major, education minor at Bates College in Lewiston, Maine. And the program I went on was Nepal Development and Social Change,
Okay.
fall 2015.
Okay. Thank you. So the first question for you is, what drew you initially to SIT? Aside from choosing the particular Nepal program, just what was it about SIT's programs in general that led you to choose SIT?
Through my school, it was one of the few programs that's offered in a more diverse location. I didn't want to go somewhere that I was going to go I didn't want to go somewhere I might go to otherwise in my life. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to branch out a little bit, and SIT programs were highly recommended by my study abroad office, which I think very, very highly of. So I kind of took their advice. And additionally, I was interested in the independent study project, and I really wanted to live with a homestay. So,
Yeah. Great. Great. So then when you talked a little bit then about what you wanted to go to in Nepal, what made you choose the Sustainable Development Project?
um, it relates very closely to my major, and I thought that it would draw a group of people that would have pretty similar interests to myself. And I'd spoken to other people from my school that had been on the program, and they recommended it very highly also.
Good. Good to hear. I did some time myself in Nepal. I did my graduate thesis research there. So I loved my time in Kathmandu as well.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your ISP topic that you did. What led you to the topic that you chose? How did you go through the process? What was it like conducting your own research, and then culminating in the presentation and capstone?
Um, so my project was on child malnutrition educational outreach programs because I noticed many trends while I was living in the city, both at my homestay and just on the streets, out to eat, in all sorts of places. I was noticing trends that kind of mirrored those that I'd seen in developed countries like the United States, lots of packaged food and that kind of stuff. And I focused in urban areas because I wanted to see. I knew there was a lot going on in rural areas. There are a lot of programs and interventions going on, but I wanted to see what was being done in urban areas. And I'm an education minor, so I'm very interested in that. And I wanted to look at the informal sector of education through NGOs, other programs that are going on. So for the month, took a little time to get going. There's a lot going on in country right now. But I actually moved out of my homestay. NGOs, other programs that are going on. So, I think I played it. Sorry.
No
Okay.
problem.
Um, so I moved out of my homestay. I still kept in touch with them, visited them frequently, but I just wanted to get a different experience. I lived in a dorm, like a guest house with 5 other students, very small room, 3 bunk beds. And it was very difficult to get going just because of offices being closed because of fuel shortages. But everyone that I was able to get in contact with was extremely helpful. And I conducted all my research in English, but most of us in the city did that. But I feel like I would have been prepared to do it in the language from my language classes. But with most people, they spoke better English than I did Nepali, obviously, because I just started learning. So we defaulted to English to make it easier. And then from my research, we had a presentation day. There were only 11 of us in the program, so we had a presentation day at a resort a little outside of the city. And it was a lot of fun to share research with people who I hadn't seen through the whole month. And we didn't have very many guests because it was a little difficult for people to get to the resort. But yeah, it was a great experience.
What did your research end up finding?
Mostly that there isn't a lot going on in urban areas. And that was part of the difficulty, was a lot of organizations kind of talked up the work that they would do, and then I would call and no one would answer. The organization wasn't really functioning at the point in time. But what was going on originally, I wanted to look at how, so the course of my research changed a little bit. Originally, I wanted to look at the process of implementation and how maybe it changes from the donor organizations' ideas of what should be taught to NGOs who are implementing, to field workers, to the recipients who are receiving. But because it took such a long time to get in contact with almost anyone, I just ended up looking at the programs in general and not really how the curriculum or information that is shared may be the same or change throughout the process of implementation. So basically, a lot of the programs use a lot of the same materials, and there's not, because what is happening is happening on such a small scale, there's not really much worry about misinterpretation or misinformation being spread between like the organization, the people that design the curriculum, and the people who are implementing, because oftentimes the roles are very overlapped. So it was very different from what I would have predicted if I had predicted.
Interesting. Was this your first time conducting your own research like that and writing a research paper?
Yes, it was. And I feel like it definitely prepared me very well for the required thesis that I have to do next year at school.
So you're going to be able to do this research again?
Potentially, I don't know, but the just learning how to conduct my own research in general, I think, was
a good stepping off.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Okay, well, if you were to come across someone who wasn't familiar with SIT at all, sort of how would you present our program?
Well, the words that are always used, I'm not sure if it's unique to I don't think it's unique to the Nepal program I did, but was the experiential learning, because of the ISP and just trying to make the most of being in the location that you're in. I'd say it's pretty structured compared to some abroad programs that just from other stories I've heard from friends who have gone, but in a great way, because the structure allows for you to explore on your own, do your own, find what you're interested in, and it definitely challenges you and pushes you, but there's always the structure there and the people there to help you when you need to be helped. I doubt this is unique to the Nepal program, but our academic director would always say, we're going to toss you into the deep end, but we'll be there to dry you off when you get out. So it was a lot of that, and it wasn't all easy, certainly, but it was a great learning experience.
Good. That's great to hear. Thank you. Is there something, this is just the last question, so is there something that you wish that you had known either about the country or just expectations before you departed?
I kept on wishing I'd brought more t-shirts. You can buy t-shirts there, but I'm of a unique stature, so I'm much taller than most Nepali people, so it was a little hard to find those. That seems kind of silly.
I'm finding shoes over there.
Yeah. And there's you can buy a lot of things, but just t-shirts were kind of t-shirts that I would feel comfortable just wearing out and about were kind of hard to come by. So I wish I'd brought a few more of those, because it was really hot and sweaty the first couple of months, and laundry was not frequent. But other than that, I think it is definitely an academically challenging program, but I wish I'd been a little more going into it. I wish I'd known a little more about how I could, I wish I'd done maybe a little more research on what I wanted to do in my free time, because there would be some weeks where we would have a lot of work. We would stay at the program center for a long time, go straight back to our home stays, and just kind of all week it felt like we were going. And then there were other weeks where after lunch we would have the afternoon to ourselves, and sometimes I felt a little a little like I didn't want to burden my homestay with just always being there, but I maybe I should have just done a little more research on where I was, and known like I really want to get to this temple, and so how like researching myself how I'm going to get there, that kind of thing, because I usually just ended up doing that on the weekends. We would go as students together, but maybe maybe I should have known myself what I was most interested in. But then again, after leaving, I don't feel like I missed out on anything. There's nowhere I'm like, I wish I'd gone there. So part of it's just figuring it out as you're there, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, good to hear. Okay. I mean, do you have any sort of final information that you want to share? If not, that's all the questions I have for you.
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Well, Molly, thank you very much for your time. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Yeah, thank you.